Hi. Hello, folks. Welcome and good afternoon. We are the Tech Chaplaincy Institute, and it is our second monthly Tech Chaplain check-in today. And we are so excited to be sharing with you all about live streaming, how to do it, what it is, and some best practices. As you are listening and watching live with us, if you have any questions for us, please feel free to put them in the chat for this video. We would love to answer those up for you. So first of all, let's introduce ourselves really quickly here. I am Shamika Goddard. I'm the founder of the Tech Chaplaincy Institute and the first Tech Chaplain. I'm also joined by Patrick and Javon. Patrick, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Patrick Ramaswabo, and I live in New Jersey. And my profession, I'm a digital cyber security investigator, and I've been with Shamika, who is the CEO of our company, since 2013. And I've been in IT almost over 15 years, and I'm currently now Tech Chaplains, and in case you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thanks, Patrick. And Javon?
Hi, my name is Javon Bracey. I was born and raised in New Orleans, Louisiana. Transitioned to Denver in 2017 to start at Iowa School of Theology. Graduated 2 months ago now, in June. With my master's in divinity. I am working at New Hope Baptist Church as the youth minister and the social media coordinator. And I, connected with Shamika a few months ago, and was very excited about the work that she had done and was visioning for the Tech Chaplaincy Institute. So I'm excited to be a part of the project.
Wonderful. Thank you both. And if you are new to the Tech Chaplaincy Institute, we are an organization who serve faith-based communities and mission-driven organizations, in particular faith communities who are open and affirming, social justice-oriented spaces who need help with their technology. So as a tech chaplain, we help discern where you are with your technology, where you want to be with your technology, and we walk the path to get you there. So we are folks who have expertise and experience in website design, updating, social media management strategies, getting started in those spaces, as well as software and hardware that you may use in your faith community or for your mission-driven organization, whether that is a management software for your church, or you're using Google Apps and you need help with figuring out how to do that, or getting started with G Suite, starting off with a new account for a faith community or a nonprofit organization, or if you just need help with inbox zero, getting through the mountain of emails that you may have in your inbox, or having someone walk through a new technology with you, or if you need recommendations for how you're doing and how you can be doing better, what kind of things you can be thinking of. Those are the kinds of conversations you can have with a tech chaplain, and we're more than happy to do that. So you can visit us at techchaplain.com and sign up for a complimentary half-hour session just to chat with us and see how we can be helpful to you and your organization. That's techchaplain.com, and we're more than happy to start a conversation there and see how we can help. So today's conversation is about live streaming, what it is, how to do it, and what the best practices are. So we are live streaming right now from Zoom directly to Facebook. We have a pro account with Zoom, which is required at the minimum in order to be able to live stream to Facebook and YouTube through Zoom. But there are many ways to do that. So live streaming is essentially where you are streaming video live to a platform, and there's a number of different ways to architecture that process. So getting to the how, there's a couple of different ways you can go live on Facebook or YouTube, for example, from a phone that has a high-tech phone that has access to those apps. You can use a computer, so a laptop or a desktop, to access those websites for Facebook or YouTube directly and go live with the camera that you have on your device, whether that's a webcam externally or a built-in webcam. But there's also more high-tech ways to live stream, from a camera, so a standalone camera, for example, that you can have connected to a laptop or a desktop. And there's software that you can use that will, and hardware that you'll need, and software that you can use to bring in the video, bring in the audio, and also have visuals layered on top of your imagery that will then be pushed to a particular platform to be live streamed. So the higher tech options can include, depending on how you have it set up, which can be different for each situation, but generally you're going to have your video going into a video card that you would use to translate the video into an input that your computer can handle. And then you would also have for your audio, the audio mixer that will again allow you to bring your audio into your device. For the software on your computer, you would have, depending on what kind of computer you have, if it's a Mac or a PC, there's different options there, but Open Broadcast Software, or OBS, is a great option for any device because that is available for Mac, Windows, and even Linux computers. If you have a PC or you're running Windows, you can use what's called vMix as a software to use for live streaming video from multiple inputs and audio from multiple inputs. And then if you're on a Mac, the similar software for that would be Ecamm Live, and that's lowercase e, capital C, A-M-M for that software. And most of those softwares will allow you to stream to one platform at a time. So if you want to stream to multiple platforms, such as Facebook and YouTube, you could use something like Restream.io. That is on Mac and Windows, and it allows you to stream to multiple platforms at the same time. And so the other thing to consider is if you are using your laptop or your desktop to manage the live stream, whether that's through any of those software that I mentioned before, OBS, vMix, or Ecamm, you want to use a powerful machine, so something with a quad core processor, or if you are not sure whether or not the device you currently have is strong enough to handle live streaming for these particular softwares, then try it out. But there's also specific specifications that are recommended by each of the software platforms that you can check with your device just to confirm that you have enough of what you need in order to run that software. So there's a lot, as I said, a lot of different ways to set up your live stream, and it can be as simple and as inexpensive or as complex and expensive as your budget and your timing allows. But essentially, now we want to move into the best practices so that you can determine what's the best way forward for your organization and your live streaming needs. So the first and foremost thing I want to highlight in terms of best practices for live streaming is to start with what you have and use what you've got to get started. So if that is just a cell phone or just a laptop and you're going live straight from those things into Facebook or YouTube, then that's a great place to start. But the main goal is to get started, and then from there you can grow and pivot. Before I open up the floor for best practices to Javon and Patrick, the next best practice I want to share is about the safety concerns that you would need to keep in mind when you're live streaming. So if you're live streaming a faith service, for example, and you have children or youth in those services, you want to be very cognizant that their first and last names are not available to be seen on the screen. So at the beginning of the service, you can, before you go live, encourage those families to change their names so that the display name doesn't display their last name or any other identifying information for those youth. There's also a really great resource from the eFormation Learning Center out of Virginia Theological Seminary from Sarah Stone-Sapphire Boylan, who calls this the holy trinity of Zoom safety. So if you're using Zoom to stream your services, for example, or stream your events, there's this holy trinity of safety that you need to keep in mind. The first part of that trinity is a waiting room. The second part is having registration for your event. And the third part is a password for your meeting. And then of course, in the context of all of this, in the background is to remember not to post the link and the password for your event publicly. There's a lot of different ways you can get this information to folks. So again, the registration piece, but also if you're having services on Sundays and you want folks to attend, give them that information in your newsletter that they have to sign up for. Do not put that information straight up on your website, but give folks a way to exchange information for that information. So they have to give you their email address to sign up for their newsletter. And then that's the way a lot of faith communities are sharing and disseminating their worship information. So there are plenty more best practices that we want to cover, but I just want to reiterate, if you've got questions for us about live streaming or any general questions, feel free to put them in the chat of this video and we're happy to answer those for you. So I'm going to invite Javon to share best practices as well that she's come across that she thinks would be helpful for you all.
Awesome. So to Shamika's point, just to kind of add to it, in terms of starting with what you have, I always like to remind folks that comparison is the thief of joy. And so if you are comparing what your congregation is doing to what somebody else is doing, you don't know the budget that they have, and you don't know the audience that they're reaching, or who has made an investment or a donation in terms of hardware and things like that. And so, comparing yourself to what they're doing, comparing what you can do to what they're doing is not the way to go. So be confident in what you have. And along with that, managing your expectations. So if your budget only allows for you to, at this time, use the free services and use what you have at your disposal, know that you can put out a really amazing product, something that's really interactive, something that captures folks' attention, something that genuinely conveys the spirit of who you are. As one of our clients said recently, your quirkiness, your vibe, your personality, your energy. You can use what you have to convey those things, which is really essentially the most important piece. But just make sure you're managing your expectations, and that if you are using free things, that there will be some limitations that you have to navigate, rather than having something that you're paying for. The next thing I want to talk about is doing practice runs. So setting things up and pressing record, or kind of situating things and resituating things to ensure that lighting and sound and shadows and whatnot are okay. So when you're doing worship or conducting meetings in physical space and physical proximity to people, you don't have to worry about some of the same things. It's almost like blocking for a stage play, right? So you need to make sure that the lighting and the sound and all those elements are good, which takes practice. So you may want to do practice runs. You may want to, perhaps set something up where you're just kind of reminding folks about worship on a Wednesday or a Thursday before it's happening, so that you can gauge what needs to be changed or adjusted before you actually go live for the event. And then after the event is over, one thing I would suggest is just ensuring that whatever content you put out there is available for folks who want to, play it back later. So, YouTube and Facebook are really good about archiving anything that's streamed live, including some of the live comments and things like that populate as the video is live. But just making sure that it's good, that it's labeled well, that people can find it, that you've named it what you want to name it, and describe it as you want to describe it, so that people are able to find it. And speaking of the comments and things, as I said, remember that as you're live streaming, as you are putting information out, that there may be people commenting and responding to what you're saying, what you're doing. So if you're able, do what you can to manage those things as the stream is happening. Do what you can to be responsive to the comments, answer any questions, what have you. But if not, sometimes people are working with limited human power. And so doing what you can to go back on the back end after it's archived and after it's up to respond to any questions or what have you that are coming up during the stream. So those are some things that I have. I think that's the last one. So yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Javon. And then now I want to invite Patrick to share best practices as well around live streaming that you've come across that would be helpful for folks.
Thank you, Shabika. And the first best practice which you can put into your mind is first to test your equipment to make sure that your equipments are working. It can be very painful if you go live and then you find out that you don't have one of your gadgets not connected to power. So it is always very advisable to have all the equipment tested before you go live. And another thing is to go with the plan. It's good to know that if you are going live for like 20 minutes or 15 or an hour, so it's always to have a plan so that you keep tracking what you're going to talk about, and also be able to focus exactly to what you'll be talking about. Another good practice is encourage the people to your audience to share, so that in case your content needs some improvement or whatever you're talking about, it's always to share views from different angles, and that will help you to spice up your content, and also it's always to have some criticism in order for you to improve. And another thing which is also important is to comply with the platform's rules. It's always to know that if you are using, let's say, Facebook, or using let's say YouTube, or you're on Instagram, it's always to comply with their rules so that they don't disrupt your whatever you do in case you violate their rules. It's always to have that in your mind. And also to make time for the Q&A, questions and answers, so that you're able to provide the quality exchange with your audience, so that they have their expectations have been fulfilled. So I believe I think those are some items or best practices I can share for now. In case you have any question, please don't feel free to share it with us, and we'll be able to answer it. And I can pass this to Shamika in case there's something else she can add. Then I think that's all I have for now.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Patrick. I would also say, just for some bonus tips here, when you're going live, you also want to keep in mind the multiple audiences who are going to be engaging with your content. So there's the live audience, and then there's the later audience. So the live audience are watching as it happens if you've set up your live stream to be that way. There are possibilities in which you might pre-record your content, and then it's scheduled to be released. So you could have a watch party that watches that content as it gets presented and premieres. So you could set that up with your community to comment live as they're watching this pre-recorded content. But either way, when you're conducting the actual content itself, whether it's a service or an event, you want to start by welcoming folks, introducing yourself. Especially if you're doing services every week, you will have new folks who will be coming in and watching, and they may not know who you are and anything about you. They may have just come across your page. So make sure at the beginning of every one of your services, for example, you introduce yourself, you say a little bit about who y'all are, and make sure you create some touch points for new folks as well as other folks watching who may be familiar with who you are, in terms of what they can do next to engage with you as a community. So that could be on Facebook and on YouTube, but Facebook in particular, you can pin a comment at the top of your video that folks are watching, and that pinned comment could be something like the website where your community's website. That could be the donation link to donate money to your community. That could be a digital connection card that folks could fill out and share information about who they are and what they may stand in need of, so that someone from your community can reach out to them afterwards. So thinking about those multiple audiences is going to be really helpful to how you welcome them, how you engage with them, and give them opportunities to engage with you as well. So that's something I wanted to just highlight, because I think it's very, whenever you watch a video that has been a live event and they say something like, thank you for all those watching both now and later, right? So those little nods to the fact that they understand folks will be watching at a different time are very helpful. And we've had one client recently who's a faith leader of a community who noticed that they have a certain number of folks watching on Sunday when the video goes live, but they have maybe 2 to 3 times that number of folks watching throughout the week. So it's very likely that people are going to be engaging with your content at a later time than when it comes out. So if you go in with that knowledge and information and recognize the multiple audiences that you're going to be engaging with, you can bake those things in to that experience.
And just to add to that briefly, knowing those things and monitoring those analytics helps you to set the goals that you want to set for yourself, right? So if you know that, you have all of these people who may not be watching live, but they may be watching later, invite them to subscribe, right? And invite them to take part in, I think Patrick made this point, to subscribe to the newsletter, to subscribe to your YouTube, and to, respond to a call to action, right? And so as you are monitoring the analytics and the specifics of the data that comes from your streams, then that'll help you to establish what goals you want to set for yourself moving forward and how to make it better. So again, it's not always about the hardware or about having the most expensive, access to X, Y, and Z, but about just paying attention to who your audience is, setting goals, and really catering your programming moving forward to your audience and the goals that you set.
Exactly. Thank you, Javon. And I think that's a really important point to keep in mind, is that you want your faith community's personality and offerings to shine through, regardless of what your setup is. Patrick, did you have something to add?
Yes. I can say that also, before you go live streaming, it's always important to you don't forget to promote your live streaming ahead of time, so that you have more audience to when you are having that live streaming, and this will help you to increase your viewers. And also another thing is to have a clear action. So it means at the end of your sermon, or your end of your whatever you're doing or presentation, it is always to encourage the audience to sign up for the newsletters or something else, so that you can keep in touch, or even inform them whatever you have or whatever you release on either daily basis or on weekly or monthly. So, and also it's always to encourage you to have fun while you're streaming, so that you release the stress. You're not going to be stressed. So it's always good in my own view. So I don't know, maybe others may not, but it's always fun to have it. I think that's what I can say for now, in case someone else has something else to add. So maybe I can pass it to Shamika.
Absolutely. Yes. It's so important when you've gotten all of the things figured out to actually get live, that once that record button goes up and you are able to start sharing, that you just embrace that moment and are able to bring your full self and be fully present in that moment, which means it might be helpful to have a digital usher, if you will, who is going to be the one maintaining the tech side of the live stream, so that you as the faith leader, you as the person facilitating the event, you can just do that. and you don't have to focus on hitting this button at this time or switching to this view at this time or whatever the case may be. It's always helpful if you have another pair of hands and another pair of eyes who can help facilitate the tech side of things, then that's going to go a really long way in allowing you as that faith leader or that event facilitator to really be able to be present in what you're doing and be able to manage that moment. Indeed. So with that being said, we want to thank you all for watching. We do have a few more moments, but we wanted to just reiterate that as the Tech Chaplaincy Institute, our goal is to help people overcome fear and anxiety around technology and replace that with empowerment. We use the best practices of pastoral care and chaplaincy to meet you where you are in whatever technological issue you may be in and usher you through that moment with dignity and grace. We've had the opportunity to work with several folks since we've launched in June, and we're looking forward to continuing to serve folks into the future. So if you have any questions, if you have any suggestions of what you'd like to see us chat about during our monthly check-ins, please feel free to respond to this video with a comment or share this video with others you think that might find this helpful, this information helpful. If you, again, would love to have a conversation with the Tech Chaplain and see how we could journey together, visit techchaplain.com, where you can sign up for a complimentary half-hour session. You can also reach out to us directly by emailing us. You can email me at shamika@techchaplain.com. And that's the same for Javon and Patrick. Javon at techchaplain.com, as well as Patrick at techchaplain.com. So with that, we appreciate your time, your attention, and in the future, as we do these monthly Tech Chaplain check-ins, we look forward to your questions and your comments about whatever topics we may have for you. So thank you again. We look forward to seeing you all again next month for September's Tech Chaplain check-in. So any last words?
No, just continue to follow us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. You know, like, share, subscribe, follow, all the commands, and share the content that we put out there. And to Shamika's point, if there's anything that you're looking for, feel free to formally request those things, but also comment and direct message and those things. The channels are being checked regularly, so let us know. Continue to stay connected with us and connect us to other folks who you think might benefit from what we have to offer. So thank you for watching. Thank you for participating. Thank you for being present and for just walking with us on this journey.
Absolutely. Patrick, did you have any last words?
Okay, yes, thank you for being with us on this platform, and we shall continue to be with you in case you have any concern about security, any concern about your website, concern about getting your content, or you want your content to be advanced to another level, higher level, depends on what you are doing. So we are ready to help you and to go through with you. So we're not going to just give you the content, but we'll also make sure that we'll take steps with you until you're satisfied. So you're most welcome. In case you have any question, please don't hesitate to contact any of us, and we shall be able to provide at least or give you an answer. If we don't have an answer, we'll have a way around that. Thank you very much. That's what I can say for now.
Wonderful. Thank you both, and thank you all for watching. We'll see you next month. Bye.